left to right. Russell Westbrook.
You love the Philadelphia Eagles. Let me get a hell yeah.
What's up, everybody? What's going on? It is Deibs, Mr. Crockpot on Twitter. Welcome to Party on Broad. On tap for today, we are going to do a mock draft for the Eagles. Joining us today is Tom. Make sure you follow him on Twitter at TomDS215. What's going on, Tom?
Not much. We got a little bit of a post-combine edition mock here. We're using the great mock draft machine from the wonderful thedraftnetwork.com. Not a plug, not a paid sponsor, but I read a lot of their articles. They have a lot of great guys on staff, a lot of good people to follow on Twitter. But my favorite thing about them and my vice right now is this mock draft machine. I literally cannot get enough.
Such an awesome tool. So we are going to go through rounds 1 through 7. Are we doing trades, Tom?
No trades. Not a premium member, so I can't do the trades.
All right, we're not doing trades, although we may be talking about it. Let's do this, man. Let's get started.
Cool. So we're gonna go in. We're gonna set it there. Let's do fast, I guess, is the speed.
No, let's do normal.
All right.
That way we can see who's
Normal.
picked. Come on, Henry Ruggs. Kinlaw. CeeDee Lamb went first. Next, Jerry Jeudy and Henry Ruggs. We got a run of wide receivers going on here. Gladney went. DeAndre Swift. Patrick Queen went high. Okay. Tristan Wirfs.
Big fall for Tristan Wirfs.
Uber at 21?
I promise you that's not going to happen on draft day.
There's no way, man. Tristan Wirfs was
hard to.
Go ahead.
Yeah, winner of the combine, right?
Absolutely.
Crazy athletic monster.
Dude, the combine, I thought, pretty much made him the top offensive lineman in the draft, man. He was 6'5", 320 pounds, and led all of his peers in the 40-yard dash and had a better vertical than Jerry Jeudy and CeeDee Lamb. And he's going 21. You know what I'm doing here, man? I'm trading back. Some team is going to want Tristan Wirfs here, man. I'm trading back here.
Okay, I like that. I think there's no way Wirfs is on the board, but let's see what kind of. I think this is the realistic scenario that we see Ruggs, Jeudy, and Lamb off the board. Do you still want to go receiver here? Or do you want to look at the safeties, corners? Let's do a little looking around.
Yeah, let's look at who's available. I see Grant Delpit. Safety would be a huge area of need. I really like Delpit. Espinosa's been falling, man. He's certainly been falling.
Looks like a lot of the highly ranked corners kind of went. I do like Trayvon Diggs and Jalen Johnson as well.
Big fan of Trayvon Diggs. Justin Jefferson's still there.
Mims is still there. Rager's still there.
Oof.
What are you thinking?
I mean, my first take is I trade back here. Look at all those receivers available, man. You know they're going to be available in the second round. All of those guys. Look, it tells me that the Draft Network thinks another run of wide receivers is about to happen. You look at the top available, man. It's coming. You got Jefferson, Mims. I just did a breakdown on Denzel Mims. That guy's a stud, man. He's fat. Yep. He's 6'3". Huge catch radius. Can catch the ball wherever you want Carson to throw it. He'll catch it. I really like Denzel Mims, but not so much in the first round. Justin Jefferson, he was another huge winner in the combine. He ran, I think, a 4.4 340. Yeah, 4.3, and he's one of those guys that I was not sold on, but because he showed that he has, straight line speed, that opens the door. I'm probably going to go Justin Jefferson here, although my first thought is to trade back. What do you think?
Yeah, I like the trade back. I think Jefferson might be available if you trade back. I worry that if you go further than 20, I think the Bills could pick Jefferson, or they could pick a bigger guy like a Higgins or a Shenault for Josh Allen.
Yeah.
24, I think the Saints are going to take a receiver. So I'd worry about going further back, I think, than 23, and that's the only reason I might get nervous trading back there.
Yeah.
Because then you're kind of in Mims, Higgins, Rager territory in the first, which seems like a little bit of an over. So I like taking Justin Jefferson here. Yeah, the 4.43, uber productive at LSU, with one of the best receivers in the country on the other side of the field from him. Monster in his biggest games, and I think he's going to be a great pro.
And if Wirfs really does fall this far, man, this guy had a better vertical than DeAndre Hopkins, AJ Green, and Amari Cooper. Like, this guy would have a lot of value in a trade, I think.
Yeah, I totally agree. But for posterity's sake here, we'll take our man, right. Justin Jefferson.
Justin Jefferson. All right. So I like – he's got all the talent. He checks all the boxes. He runs great routes. I thought he was mostly a slot guy. But I guess if he shows that he can be a true outside receiver, let's do it, man. I like it.
Yeah, and we saw the Patriots take Wirfs there at 23, which would be very, very Patriots. Probably be a Hall of Famer.
Did you see the video of Wirfs jumping out of the pool? Just directly out of the pool and just straight vertical jump. Absolutely insane. That guy is so.
I have not. You should post that in the replies to the video when we post this on Twitter, because I would like to watch that. So it looks like here we have a ton of receivers.
Oh, my boy.
Rager still on the board. Hamler, Peoples-Jones, Ayuk, and then we go down a little bit further. We have a couple good inside guys. Curtis Weaver, one of the most productive edge players in college football. Uche, athletic freak. Dantzler, athletic freak. What are you thinking here? Jeremy Chin, another athletic freak. What's on your mind here? What do you like in the second round?
At this point, I'm also best player available, which clearly is wide receiver. I have been on the Jalen Reagor train for a long time. He's been my pick at number 21, assuming that Henry Ruggs is not available. I've been on the Reagor train for a while. He's super fast. He didn't run very well at the combine. What did he run? He ran, 4.47, which is not as good as I think a lot of people expected.
Yeah.
KJ Hamler's there, another burner. Can we go double dip on wide receiver? Because you get Justin Jefferson, who is kind of an unknown on the outside. He could be good, but you add that with a Jalen Reagor or a KJ Hamler, I'm totally good double dipping on wide receiver here. I don't like the options at defensive back here. What do you think?
I think I'm agreeing with you. I think if you have someone like as talented as Reagor fall this far down the board, I think he's like you said, he would be a nice combination with a Jefferson, or even if we went with like a Chenault with that 22nd pick. So I like a Reagor as like a total burner, and his highlight tape is disgusting. So we'll double dip here. We'll break the laws. We'll double dip. Even in the land of the coronavirus, we're not scared to get a little bit germy here. So we're gonna pick Jalen Reagor.
How about Donovan Peoples-Jones, man? Talk about a high riser in this draft. I had never heard of him. This guy's from Michigan. I don't think he played at all last year, but like athletically, I mean, the guy is really talented.
Yeah, so he's one of the guys. He's definitely been there for a few years, and he's just one of the guys who's let down by playing with Shea Patterson, who is terrible. I think I saw something from Pro Football Focus that he was like among the least accurate passes to receivers in college football last year.
Okay.
As was KJ Hamler. KJ Hamler was also among the receivers with the lowest percentage of accurate passes in their area on targets. So I think that's an interesting thing to consider, and that Peoples-Jones could be someone who has a better NFL career than he does a college career. Okay, so some interesting guys here. Some guys who I would think they would look at in the second round. We have a Bryce Hall. We have a Damon Arnett, a Rashard Lewis, a Darnay Holmes, a Meek Robertson, a guy who I love, who incredibly productive in college. I think he had 16 turnovers in 3 years, 14 interceptions, 2 forced fumbles. You watch his highlight tape. He's aggressive. He jumps in passing lanes. He's really good with the ball in his hands on returns. Dynamo athlete, just didn't perform at the combine because of the groin thing, but I think would have tore up the combine and could be a steal here, even though he's like a 5'9" guy. But a lot of other really talented corners left on the board. So what are you thinking, Deibs? Any other positions you want me to check?
Definitely. I mean, Damon Arnett, I think he's one of the biggest fallers from the combine. He was, what before the combine, he was up there pretty high. I like Bryce Hall. He's a physical guy. He's like 6'1", 6 foot. He's kind of a cover guy. Who else we got? J.K. Dobbins, Cam Akers. Can you go down a little bit?
Mm-hmm.
Darnay Holmes, I like, out of UCLA.
Anai and Highsmith. Highsmith, fourth in the NCAA in sacks this year and fifth in tackles for loss. Just an absolute animal. Tore up the combine. Uber athletic. Former walk-on. Chip on his shoulder, as they say.
I mean, you need defensive line help, man. I'm not sold on Derek Barnett. He still shows that same kind of, he gets to the quarterback, but he doesn't bring him down. He's kind of inconsistent. I kind of like that pick. Kayvon Wallace is pretty solid. He's got a little bit of the case of the dropsies, but he's another physical, intelligent, versatile safety that can play cornerback and safety. I know the Eagles love that, right? Chase Claypool. We can't triple dip on wide receivers. No, that's never gonna happen.
I won't allow that as the person.
I do like Chase Claypool. That guy's impressive.
I like those edge guys a lot. I like Anai, and I like Highsmith. They're both uber athletic, and they put up very, very productive in college.
Awesome.
I mean, that Utah defense was incredible this year. Tore up the Pac-12. And then Highsmith, obviously, just numbers are off the chain, and his athletic testing this past weekend was absurd. I'm sure he's one of the guys who's getting written as a winner and in many columns across the board. So what are you thinking? You like that edge, or you want to look at one of these corners?
Let's go edge, man. Hopefully we'll find a corner in the next round. Not looking good for corners right now.
All right, so you want to go and here's the thing about corner. The Eagles are heavily rumored right now to be top of the market for Byron Jones.
Yep.
So that could be less of a position of need if they end up spending, $17-18 million on a young, talented player like Byron Jones. So that could be something that gets pushed down the board by that anyway. So it could be kind of smart for us to avoid that. So I think, what do you think here? Do you like Anai or Highsmith?
I think I'll go Anai. On the Byron Jones, I'm not so sold on that guy, man. This guy he doesn't have many interceptions. I think he was a Pro Bowler once. Are you prepared to make him be paid as one of the top defensive players in the NFL? I don't know if I am, man. What about you?
Yeah, see, like corners for me, I feel like every year, okay, if you're an amazing corner, if you're a lockdown corner, you're very rarely hitting the market in your prime, right? Like Norman hit the market kind of post-prime. I guess he had a year or two there. Revis hit the market. He had it like a year or two there where he still played at a high level, but was never like the same Revis. Those guys, like, generally, I think it's more likely you get a blue chipper in the draft, or you hit on someone, you develop someone, and they kind of play underpaid, and then you kind of let them walk. So I agree that the cornerback position is a tough one for free agency, because if they're that good, why are the Cowboys?
They can't afford them.
They can't afford them. They're one of the teams where just so cap strapped. That's what happens when you pay a running back that kind of money, that kind of guaranteed money. Unfortunately, and you have to pay a quarterback and all these things. You kind of lose some of those extra guys, and especially they're going to want to pay Van Der Esch and Jalen Smith and some of these great young guys they have as well. So
absolutely.
All right, so we're jumping in here to the fourth. Before before we kind of jump in here, let's look and see. So corners back's going to be a large need. I know linebacker is something we talked about last time as a large need because they basically it's Nate Gary and the boys. I mean, not really a ton there.
No.
They'll bring in some middling veteran who's just not very good, I'm sure. So it could be nice to have a young stud there. Cornerback, we already talked about. Safety, McLeod.
Yeah, he's gone.
I think he's probably gone. He's going to be expensive. I think Malcolm Jenkins, they'll try to bring him back, but he's still an older player. It would be nice to develop someone. So what are you thinking here? What would you like to check out?
Probably Brandon Jones from Texas, 6 foot. He's not versatile, but at least he's a good tackler. There it is.
6 foot 205.
Yeah, man. I mean, they need a young safety to groom and develop. They don't have any of those guys. I'm not a believer in like Avante moving to safety. I think he's right there as a slot corner. Let's look at who else is available. That Javelin Guidry, I can't pronounce that last name. That guy was a stud during the combine. He was a monster. He put up some crazy numbers, man.
Yeah, and so Terrell Burgess, I think like tested very well. Wasn't like a blowout monster at the combine, but I got a lot of positive reports coming out of the Senior Bowl. I think Jim Nagy, who's the director of the Senior Bowl, tweeted that this is the type of guy that you're going to want in your locker room. He's a leader. He's fearless. He's physical. He might be like a little bit undersized, or he's not like a prototype guy. He's 5'11", 192. But I think he's the type of guy that might be a culture changer, but I think he's someone we could probably pick up in the fifth if we want to look at a couple other positions here. We also have go ahead.
How about the Steelers? Look down, man. They got Chase Claypool with the 114th pick in 4th round. Man, Steelers just are so good at getting those guys at wide receiver. I like man.
Steelers gonna Steelers. That's how it goes.
That guy's going to become like a number 1 starter in like 2-3 years. Oh yeah, potentially. So Davis-Gaither, undersized, really athletic linebacker, kind of fits the profile of some of the guys the Eagles have drafted in the past. Okay.
Bochy Jr. Suspended this year for PEDs at some point, but was one of the most productive players in the Big Ten the last few years. Just like your standard Big Ten middle linebacker. Tough dude from the Midwest with tattoos that just scares the shit out of you. So I could definitely see them going Bochy there as well. Marcus Bailey is supposed to be really, really athletic and really talented with some injury concerns. And then let's see, interior defensive line, Strobridge. Strobridge is an interesting guy. So he's only like, I don't think he's that heavy. I think he's like, let's see, 6'4", 267. But he played on the interior for North Carolina, but one of those guys that I love that can flip inside, flip outside. I think having a really talented guy like him or a Leaky Futu or Jordan Elliott next to Fletcher Cox continue to solidify the trenches on defense there. I think that's really, really good value there at 117. So what's tickling your fancy here?
I'm going with the athletic linebacker because they need a guy that can go sideline to sideline. I'm looking at that Akeem Davis-Gaither, man. He is 6'2". He's got some quickness. They need a linebacker, obviously. Bradham's gone. I don't even know who's linebacker right now for the Eagles. It's pretty gloom and doom there. Give me the athletic linebacker that can plug up some holes and get some tackling there. I like Akeem Davis-Gaither.
Yeah, and he could be a guy that's good in coverage. Yeah, it's literally Nate Gary and undrafted free agent TJ Edwards from Wisconsin. He's a great college player, but unproven right now in the pros. So they're definitely going to be making some sort of move in free agency, whether that's kind of a low-level signing. And
for sure.
I'd assume they'll pick up somebody in the draft, but they don't really value the position.
And to be fair, both Gary and Edwards did have a pretty good year, but you can't go into 2020 with those guys as starters, man. You can't. That needs an upgrade. I'm tired of the linebacker position being neglected. I know it's not as valued in the Jim Schwartz defense, but they got to get speed there.
Yeah, that's a little bit too much Stuart Bradley, Omer Gaither for my taste. Having a Gary TJ Edwards combo there.
Yeah, man.
My dad does have a rule, though. If someone has a hyphen in his last name, he just doesn't think they're going to be a successful athlete. Just a personal vendetta he has. Though we've seen Juju and we've seen Shea Gilgeous in the NBA. So maybe we're in the era of proving him wrong.
Sure. All right, so I've got two of my guys here.
Okay.
AJ Dillon and Devin Duvernay. Two really good fits for the Eagles. What about you?
Yeah, I like Dillon. I like McTelvin Ajim. I heard he had a really good week at the I believe he was at the Shrine Bowl, maybe the Senior Bowl. But he's just like a big interior defensive lineman. Played at Arkansas. Was like a 5-star recruit. So he's like hyper talented, but maybe wasn't as productive but 6'3", 307. Could be a guy that could develop next to Fletch. I like those IDLs. John Simpson, I think, is the center from Clemson. 6'5", 330. Gonna need a guy in there to replace Kelsey. I do like Dillon. Dillon seems like a good pick here. Kind of a riser, super productive in college.
Dude, 6 foot.
I know we have 6 foot.
Dude, Dillon is 6 foot, 247 pounds. Like, you got the Lightning with Miles Sanders and Boston Scott. I love those two guys, but give me a back to get me short yardage. Watching the tape of A.J. Dillon, this guy will lower his helmet routinely and push guys forward. I got to go A.J. Dillon here. Even though I love Duvernay, he's like kind of a Deebo Samuel clone. His fit with Carson could be really good because he can be lined up all over the field. He's kind of a straight line guy, but he's very fast.
Okay, and then I'm going to bet on the talent and use mine to pick McTelvin Ajim.
Okay.
And also, I feel like that's a great in-stadium announcement. Ajim.
I can hear
or Merrill Reese. I think they'll be all over in Ajim. That's kind of a fun name to say.
I love it.
So 6th round here, kind of interesting. I think we picked a corner yet? I don't think we picked
No. I don't.
We haven't picked any secondary. Oh, my guy Terrell Burgess is here, who we talked about a little bit earlier.
Yeah, I think that's a no hesitation pick there.
Yeah, quarterback. Nothing's really blowing me off the board. Maybe like.
Can we find where Jalen Hurt was drafted? Jalen Hurt.
Yeah. We'll do a little review of the full stack once we wrap it up here. So we'll take Terrell Burgess. We kind of talked about him a little bit already.
100%.
Maybe he's the next Ronnie McLeod. That'd be nice.
You need a new McLeod, man. I really don't think he's coming back. They're not going to be able to afford him. It just ain't happening. You're going to overpay probably for Malcolm Jenkins, which they should. He needs to be paid. But I'm good with it.
Yeah, so I read a report, I think it was from Jeff McClain of the Philadelphia Inquirer, that Jenkins isn't necessarily looking for a significant uptick in annual value. What he's really looking for is guaranteed dollars over a few years. So even if, like not front loading a contract with a ton of money, but basically building a nice balanced contract so he can finish his career as an Eagle, which is something I respect, and I think the team will probably respect. Mr. Irrelevant.
Who was it?
Kalisha Lipscomb, receiver from Vanderbilt. Aaron Moorhead disciple. All right. So first round here, let's look at some of the Eagles.
Where did Henry Ruggs go?
So we had Chase Young at 4. That would be terrifying for our boy Carson.
Yeah, that's no good. That's a great pick from the Giants. All right, CJ
Okuda going 2. We had CJ Lamb 11, Jerry Jeudy 12, and Ruggs 13.
Woo! God, who did the Raiders get, or the Denver Broncos get? At what, 15, 16?
So the Broncos took Fulton.
So all of the top 3 wide receivers for the Broncos are gone before the 15th pick. That's wild.
It is in play, though. I mean, I think these guys, the way they tested, and like the Raiders don't have Amari Cooper, don't really have a number 1. I could see them taking Judy. CeeDee Lamb, you're always trying to get a young guy for your quarterback. I could see them going Mekhi Becton over CeeDee Lamb or Wirfs and getting a tackle to protect Darnold. But never a bad bet to get someone as talented as CeeDee Lamb. So maybe that pushes Judy down, and then Ruggs to 15. And I think we're still kind of in the same boat. Jeff Gladney, he's really physical corner, really good player. Be a tough player for the Eagles to play against. We obviously got Justin Jefferson. We talked about him. And Andrew Thomas, 26. That's a steal for Miami.
Look at my boy Denzel Mims going 30th to the Green Bay Packers. That's a great fit for Aaron Rodgers. Really good deep threat.
Jordan Love. So they get who do they get in the first? Let's see. They got Ruggs, right? The Colts get Ruggs.
That sounds right.
Yeah, the Colts get Ruggs, and then they get the quarterback, or some people are projecting them to take it 13 at 34. I mean, that would be a hell of a haul.
That's a great
Zach Bond, he's a great player.
T. Higgins
at 35. T. Higgins to the Giants. Let's see. We got Duggar, another super athletic guy, small school guy. Cowboys building in the back end, getting Duggar and Gladney, 2 players I really, really like.
I like the Eagles picks, man. Rager and Justin Jefferson, man. Those guys are really going to be weapons for Carson Wentz. Matt Hennessy, my boy to the Jets. Local. You get to stay a little local for Matt Hennessy. That's great.
I can see that. I feel like the Jets have always had a fascination with Temple guys.
Yeah, Robbie Anderson. Yeah, so.
That's all I was thinking about. And then Jalen Hurts goes 73 to the Jags.
Wow, there it is.
Ahead of Jacob Eason. Interesting, because Eason's gotten some like arm talent buzz, but maybe that kind of died off after his testing at the combine. Troy Pride, a guy I really like, goes out to the Raiders. Thaddeus Moss to Tennessee. That's kind of fun.
How about Damon Arnett falling, man? Wow.
Zach Moss.
I like this Colts draft, man. They got Kayvon Wallace here. This is a solid draft for Indianapolis.
I don't know Shanae O'Grady, but I'm sure he's a good guy. I like the Cowboys draft a lot too. Jordan Elliott. They got Gabe Davis from UCF's really talented. Just building the defense. I mean, that's a strong draft. Duvernay goes to Denver at 161.
Great.
I think that'd be a great fit for Denver.
Great.
Let's see what else we're working with. We're getting towards the end of the line here. We got Terrell Burgess to the Eagles. Anthony Jennings, a hardworking guy from Alabama, going to the Colts. Another guy I really like. Another good pick for the Colts. Gandy Golden going to the Vikings. Uber athletic guy, tall, could be a great player for Kirk. And anything else really jumping out? John Runyon, St. Joe's Prep.
There you go.
Going to Pittsburgh, and yeah, there it is. So there was our Draft Network mock draft. Let's look at our Eagles picks one more time. So Justin Jefferson, Jalen Reagor, Bradley Anae, Akeem Davis-Gaither, A.J. Dillon, McTelvin Agim, and Terrell Burgess.
I like it, man. We got speed. We got some speed. We got Jefferson, Reagor, Anae, and Gaither. Then we got some power by A.J. Dillon. I mean, I give this a solid B+. I think we both agree there. We would absolutely trade back if Tristan Wirfs does fall to 21, which is absolutely crazy.
Yeah.
It's not happening. But I'm good. I would be pretty content with this draft. What about you?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, I think Anae is a steal. I think Reagor's a steal. Burgess, I think, is a steal. I think he's going to be a good player. But let us know what you guys think in the comments below. If there was anything that jumped out when we were picking where you're screaming at your YouTube, don't pick this guy. Like, I know someone commented on when Deibs mentioned that we were doing this pod tonight. Don't pick AJ. I'm assuming that was AJ Terrell.
Make sure you follow Tom on Twitter at TomDS215. Tom, you want to plug a Pod Is No Name a little bit?
Yeah, Pod Is No Name. Fantasy podcast. Every week we're reading about 100 pages of a fantasy series. We have a really good connection with the Reddit community. We do a lot of back and forth with them. We answer a lot of their questions on the pod and talk about their observations and their feedback. It's kind of a fun, interactive experience. We've built a little bit of a following, and we're having a great time. But definitely excited to continue to talk about the NFL draft here as we get closer and closer. Especially, I think it'll be fun to do another mock potentially at the end of March, maybe after the first week of free agency. We can see some of where the ducks in a row fall for the Eagles, maybe kind of more clearly define what those needs are. But again, leave comments below on the YouTube video. Tell us what you like, what you don't like, guys you want, things you think we're missing, anything, feedback on the video and the pod, and then party on, broad.
Awesome. Make sure you lock it down to thepainted.com. If you're new to the channel, hit subscribe below. For Tom and myself, thanks for watching, guys. Stay awesome.
Sixers win it! Wow! Oh man, and being just posterized Russell Westbrook.
You love the Philadelphia